Hello everyone, my name is BPerry. In today's episode, I'll be talking about the new what's been in the media right now is the new changes that YouTube is creating. So as you probably have found out this week, YouTube is changing its format of how people are being monetized, demonetized, and all those different things. And in this video, I'll be talking about 5 strategic tips to help you get your 4,000 watch hours right before January 31st, before it moves up to 8,000 watch hours. And I'll go through all the criterias, what channels, what type of channels that you should produce, how to navigate through YouTube if you are just starting, or if you already have a channel, what changes that you need to do to modify so you can get monetized within this short window that we have. So I have taken some notes. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the deep dive of YouTube as a holistic lens. So you know what it's all about. If you don't know what YouTube is, you need to get hip now, because YouTube is the largest visual video platform out there. It is partnered with Google, and it's one of the top search engines. So if you're not on that platform, you should join now. This is a perfect time to get that momentum. If you need any motivation, this new monetization is really forcing you to get motivated now. So in the announcement, they released that prior to, like, currently right now, you need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours within 365 days. So yes, that means after 365 days, the next day, it goes based off of what you have accumulated to this current day. So you're always losing watch hours every single day, past the 365 day mark. So you have to really have a lot of great videos, a good amount of views, mainly watch time, because it makes a difference. So take note, if you make longer videos, less views you need. But if you make shorter videos, you have to have very action impactful videos that people will continue searching and wanting to share. And then for shorts, people that are into short form videos, you have to make 10 million short videos within 90 days, which is a very far stretch. Now, starting on February 1st, 2027, you need 1,000 subscribers, 8,000 watch hours, or let me specify 1,000 subscribers, 8,000 watch hours within 365 days. Same rules apply, but just more watch hours. Or 20 million short views within 90 days. Like I said, it's even more far of a stretch. And I will go into the details on long form versus short form to see which one will be the best navigation for you. Channels are currently being demonetized. Channels that haven't been posting frequently. AI channels are getting demonetized, and I will tell you what YouTube has said about that. It says, as of January 31st, 2027, if an AI channel provides genuine human activity, unique editing, or educational value, it can still remain fully monetized. However, automated channels that rely entirely on generic mass-produced generation are becoming systematically removed from the YouTube Partner Program. And that specifically came from YouTube. Also, to keep monetized on your platform, you need to be posting at least every 90 days, at least 2 or more videos. So YouTube said, to meet the baseline of the activity threshold, to stay monetized, you need at least 1,000 watch hours within 365 days, or 1 million YouTube shorts within 90 days. For long form videos, you have to have at least 2 long form videos within the past 90 days, or 5 shorts uploaded every 90 days. So as you can see, it's more rigorous doing the shorts than it is making the longer form videos. I think keeping a baseline of keeping the watch hours, you should have some momentum after having so many subscribers. But I believe once you get monetized, it gives you the opportunity to see who your audience is and what information that they like to consume, whether it's entertainment, education, vlogs, or any of those great things that you want to do. Um, Next, we're going to go into niching. I know when I first started my first YouTube channel back in 2021, it was originally called BPerryFilms, right before I made this new channel. Um, I focused more on creating videos that were tailored to education. So for me, before I even got on YouTube, I used to look at Marques Brownlee, Phone Scoop, iMac, 9 to 5 Mac, all the technology channels, CNET, and people would have thought I would have been a tech creator. But what I love about my niche specifically is that I create a representation of myself. When I went, as I got older, I started to explore different crafts, whether it was interior designing, content creation, vlogging, cosmetology, all these different skills. And I started getting inspired, and I felt like there were no creators that looked like me. When you look up entrepreneurship, there wasn't many people that were African American descent or leading their businesses by themselves or had the mental capacity to educate people on how to navigate through. So I thought it was important for me to give representation of different communities, whether you're Black, white, Asian, or any other descent, have an opportunity to speak on what they have been able to do. I even got to work with some of these people outside of the podcast. Some of these guest members are some of my clients for my webinars, for business coaching, and seeing how they have moved forward. And I'll probably have them on future videos, seeing where they are now and how they have improved navigating through. And I got to explore some of my interests such as finance, video creation, filmmaking, how to be a great communicator, how to show up on camera, a lot of things that we all struggle with. And I know when you first start your YouTube channel, everyone's going to say, what is your niche? And everyone wants to pigeonhole you into, oh, you have to just do finance. Oh, you have to do just video. Oh, you have to do just podcasting. But people forget that when you pigeonhole yourself, you become stuck and stagnant. And then when you try to explore other avenues, people lose interest and people start unsubscribing to your YouTube channel. And you start losing your audience and your sense of self, because when you start introducing who you are and all the different elements about yourself, it becomes lost. It was kind of like when I looked at Marques Brownlee and his YouTube channel, and he started to explore different avenues, and he was getting kind of tired of just doing reviews on phones and computers, and he started navigating through doing different podcasts and different elements of like reviewing different. And what he ended up doing is that he started to explore different avenues, and he started reviewing different cars. He started having different tech creators, different CEOs, and he started branching out. He has a career in professional frisbee. He's showing different elements of himself. He's starting to vlog, he's starting to create, he's starting to expand in all these different avenues in his career. So he's no longer stagnant, and he enjoys what he loves to do. So you have to understand the difference between pigeonholing yourself into a niche and layering your content. So for my channel, I have a lifestyle channel such as I talk about business creation, I talk about cosmetology, I talk about film creation. All those different elements make me into who I am. A vlogger, a podcaster, just a person who is fascinated by learning and being around people who want to do great things. And it will exude out to other people that watch. So the next topic is long form versus short form. So when it comes to short form, you have to realize that everything has to go in viral moments. Everything has to be short, precise, executed, very detailed, and make people want to keep watching and watching and watching because you have to get those 10 million views all the time. Million after million after million, 100,000 views. If you can't keep up with the momentum, shorts, it's not for you. Simple as that. When it comes to long form, you have to be able to create stories that are compelling in a way that is authentic. And I think when it comes to authenticity, people think you have to be nice, you have to be bubbly, you have to be all these things, but some people are naturally very reserved. Some people are socially awkward. I think there was a time and period where everybody was pretending to be socially awkward or being very shy and reserved, but just show who you are, you know? I know it can be nerve-wracking being on camera for the first time, especially hearing your voice for the first time, and it's just like, I sound like that, I act like that, I behave like that. You eventually get used to it. You will be very critical of yourself, but those are the real moments. Sometimes your track might fall out, sometimes you might break a nail, maybe you have software issue, your computer crashes, or your light stops working. You just keep pushing through. And these are elements of who you are, how you're going to be truly unique to your true experience, and being bold and being courageous, you know? And I always tell people to have positive affirmations. And also to point out which short form videos, they have to be vertical format to upload as a short. And these do not count to your watch hours. These are only counted towards your short count. So it's a different program. Now, talking about different types of content that you're probably going to be producing because you have to get the watch hours is primarily podcasting and vlogging. These are the two popular styles right now that I have seen. When I started podcasting, there weren't many podcasts out there doing videos on YouTube. But anyways, some elements that you need to introduce are certain topics, making sure that things are engaging, making sure that you actually have expertise in something or have a guest that has experience in these fields. I would definitely vet people that have at least 5 or 6 years of experience in that craft. It doesn't mean that they have to have a business in that aspect. However, they should have had some type of training or certificate or went to school for these certain topics, especially when it comes to like HR, which stands for Human Resources, code of ethics, HIPAA compliance, marketing, all these different things. Because the worst people to get advice from is for people that just go viral. And viral is not really sustainable. And I'll get into elements of that pretty soon. But certain topics, you need to have an expert. So if you can't be an educator in some type of capacity, then podcasting isn't for you. And then also when it comes to vlogging, you have to have an interesting life. Not everything about you is interesting, like you brushing your teeth in the morning, you waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, is that your real routine, or are you really waking up at 9 o'clock? You know, we get some people start out drinking McDonald's coffee, then they're getting to Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, Blue Bottle coffee, their espresso. We get that. Your financial gains are rising, so you're trying to reflect that. We get that. But like I said, you want to show different elements that we haven't seen before. Be relatable. We get that people drink coffee, but be true to who you are. You don't have to showcase that you have wealth, but show that you actually show up and want to do something productive for your day. If you are a student in school, show that it can be very stressful studying for finals, applying for school, you getting your acceptance letter after you have graduated from high school. Those very momental moments. You networking with some friends, doing social activities, getting people to want to go to college, or letting people know that college is really hard, that maybe you should have a second opinion on whether you should go to pursue work first, then go to college, or go to college first and then work. You know, like I said, showing different elements. These are different topic ideas that you can produce. Also, your styling format. So when it comes to podcasting, are you going to be a solo creator or are you going to have a team? So these are your co-hosts. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but everybody should be an expertise in certain things. When it comes into compensation, it can be very stressful because everybody thinks that they should get paid the same amount. However, if someone is contributing more work or producing more rigorous work than the other people, then that person is probably going to get paid more. And then also you have to think eventually more brands are going to reach out to certain people more than others. So it becomes very competitive. Also your style format. Are you making 10-minute videos? Are you making hour-long videos? Are you making 30-minute videos? Some podcasts can go on for 3 hours. I don't know how they do it, especially when they place a lot of ads. So it becomes very tedious of having to watch 5 minutes of this, I watch an ad, watch 15 minutes of this, watch 3 or 4 ads right before the video starts back up. So always be mindful because you have to remember that people are not going to sit down through a lot of advertisements, even though that you want to get paid through it. And also your style approach of, is there a certain format of how you're going to introduce, like intro, hook, guests, main points, transitions, conclusion? Like, is there some type of storyline that you're going through, or is it going to be like hot topics where you spend 5 minutes on a topic, 10 minutes on another topic, 5 minutes on another one, intermission, next, cut off, like a real TV show. So you have to format things, and then also you have to space out your brand deals and sponsor parts of your components. The next part is vlogging styles. Jed Cal is a great example. He made a video on YouTube letting people know that he doesn't make videos longer than 10 minutes, and he makes his videos like a movie. Same thing with Andy too. He's big on YouTube. He's the first creator to get sponsored by Apple. But what I like about them is that they don't make very long videos. They get straight to the point. If they're marketing their business or some type of camera or something, they show you how they use it. They show different components, different transitions, different elements. But throughout the whole experience, it goes cohesively. And it doesn't feel like they're marketing towards you and that they are really trying to sell their expertise in their craft. So you can keep watching and watching and watching. And they upload at least once a week. Duration. Duration is very important. So when it comes to short form, you only have, I think shorts can go up to 3 minutes now. However, the shorter the video, the more likely people are going to rewatch over and over because it's going to auto replay, I believe. If it's anything like Instagram or TikTok. Shorts do not have, their watch time does not count to YouTube monetization, but it's more focused on views. Now, when it comes to long form videos, watch time is very important. So unless if your story is very compelling through beginning, middle, and end, we'll go back to the vlogging stage. Vlogs usually, for my capacity, I feel like vlogs shouldn't be more than maybe 26, 27 minutes, no longer than a half an hour. I'm starting to see people making vlogs that are over an hour long, and personally, it's just too much advertisement and it becomes very stagnant. So just comparing it, like the two examples I have gave earlier, they only make 10-minute videos, but they keep you wanting to watch and they get thousands and thousands of views, hundreds of thousands of views. Now, when it comes to the longer videos, I don't think people are going to stay there that long. I think people are going to take intermissional breaks in between. It might take them 2 or 3 days to watch through it, so be mindful. When it comes to podcasting, videos can be longer because people are there for a specific goal. People are trying to learn something or get to know that certain guests that you have featured. People are trying to get to know who you are. There's a specific type of audience, you know? And I do a balance of both vlogging and podcasting so I can tell you firsthand what people are very interested in versus who aren't. I know personally when I started posting about trichology, people are like, what is that? So I started making a series about trichology, cosmetology, and all those different elements, getting people to introduce the understanding of science and hair care, you know, and how that all balances and navigates through your whole body and how everything intertwines and how that experience has been like for me. It might not get a lot of traction right now, but however, the more that I keep posting, it's just like when people talk about their salaries, people are just like, okay, you're talking about how to make your first $1,000, but let's talk about how you make your first 10,000, 100,000, your first $1,000,000, and the momentum starts building off of there because people are more engaged by the high figures because that seems unattainable. You know, people want that secret sauce to getting that first $1,000,000 versus your first 10,000 because people think you can get that in your first 2 weeks of working, you know? Personality. Personality can be subjective. You can be an introvert. I know I'm an introvert. So when it shows up on camera, sometimes it can be like you're very soft, well-spoken, and then sometimes people want people that are extrovert, like really bubbly, very high energy all the time, but eventually that becomes stagnant. So it depends on what you want to show and how your audience will consume because people can get drained either or. Um, People think it may become a monotone stagnant or whatever, but everybody has their own version of monotone. It could be high energy monotone or it could be low energy monotone. You know, people don't really vary in their pace, to be honest, just from observance. When it comes to short form, you have to be, like I said, you have to be very interesting. I feel like for short form, you either have to be very productive or you have to be a dance video, a cooking video. You have to be in a specific niche. Not every niche can perform very good on short form, especially at the requirements that YouTube is requiring. Because looking at what I had just stated in the beginning, you need 1 million short views to keep monetized every 90 days, you know? And in order to make money, you have to keep sustaining that amount of momentum. And then also for long form, you have to produce a massive amount of views and get a lot of watch time. Otherwise, you're not going to make anything because your average channel only makes, I think, $2 to $4 per 1,000 views. And you need at least $100 to make the threshold to get paid. So that's another reason why that they're increasing the monetization process to get people motivated to keep building. The next part is educational versus entertainment. So when it comes to education, you have to be an expert, you have to be verified, you have to be experienced in certain things. I'm not saying that you have to go to school, but you have to be informed and fully alert. If you're going to be talking about politics, you have to be studying it full time. There should not be any gaps. It's okay to throw out your opinions, but make sure that you throw in some facts. Don't be saying stuff that other people that didn't say. Don't be putting words in other people's mouths because people are going to believe you firsthand. They will more likely believe a YouTube video than they do the person on that TV screen, because not everyone's watching TV. Everybody's streaming. When it comes to entertainment, it's all about personality. Personality will drive. If you're an introvert, stay in that element, you will eventually start opening up. If you're an extrovert, make sure that you are staying attentive to your audience, because I know that you guys sometimes get distracted by showcasing your personality, and sometimes it takes away from what we came there for. So just be mindful. So being a devil advocate for both hands. The next element that I want to introduce is being viral versus sustainability, because these are two different things. Viral, we think you have a ton of views. One thing that people don't really realize is that watch time is more important than views. I reiterate again, watch time is more important than views. People who have low views very often are making more money than people that are having more views. And this is why. Because people are paying specific attention to certain details. There might be certain elements that they are introducing that these viral videos aren't. They have proven that they are an expert in their craft. They have paid attention, they have studied, they have clear delivery and clear objectives that they want to make clear. When you have a short video, you want to get that view duration as close to 100% as possible. But when you have that longer video, your goal is to get to 50%. If you have an hour-long video, try to get that 50%, 60%. You are doing really good. That means that person may come back and may be taking a break. That means that you're doing something right. But if people are clicking off in the first 15 seconds on a 5-minute video, they're not interested. If people are clicking off on the first 10 minutes of that hour-long video, they're not interested. So like I said, the percentages really matter. So like I said, it's not always so much of the duration of the video, but it's the duration of how people are staying on the video. It's very important. And that will affect your sustainability, because it's not easy going viral, because people are going to keep expecting more and more and more and more and more. We've seen this with Love Island. We've seen this with America's Next Top Model. We've seen this with American Idol. They have very viral moments. However, how are they going to sustain? How are they going to keep building? How are they going to keep expanding? Because people are going to keep continuously wanting more. They want bigger stages. They want more performers. They want more personalities. They want more engagement. But how is that going to affect the show? How is that going to affect the overall health? How are you managing stress? Are you going to be able to keep producing more? Are you going to have more creative ideas? Are you going to lose energy? Are you going to have great work-life balance? Are you going to be stressed out all the time? Are you going to start pulling out your hair? Are you going to burn out? You have to think about all these different stressors and different elements that may happen, And this is why I wanted to make this video so detailed. And I created some courses down in the description below that will walk you through on how to start up a podcast, how to create content with ease, how to become a vlogger. I have a course called Vloggers Create, where I talk about the different elements of how to create a successful channel from start to finish. And I think all these elements are very useful, and we have to just take our time, outline, build upon. We have to be very critical of everything that happens. In your first 3 videos, you're going to be so nervous, you're going to have so much anxiety, but you're going to learn so much. You're going to get a couple subscribers, you might get 5, you might get 10. You might be one of those very fortunate people to get 500 subscribers if your video's that good, But everybody has their own pace. So main things that you need to take into consideration to navigate through YouTube. You need to figure out if you're going to be pigeonholed into a niche, or are you going to layer different elements of your personality? Are you going to be focusing on long form videos versus short form? Because you have to go all in. You only have about 5 months to get this all figured out. So you need to act now. You need to figure out if long form is going to be your primary concern, or are you going to make shorter videos? So consider the amount of time that we have to get the 4,000 watch hours versus the 8,000 watch hours. Consider either doing a podcast or vlogging. Vlogging is very rigorous. There has to be an element of being able to storytell. You have to be interesting. You have to be able to show up every single week, even if you're posting a vlog every 2 weeks. You have to show that it's action-packed throughout the whole experience. It can't be very mellow. It has to have some type of flow, and it just can't be transition here, transition that, because it becomes very distracting. It has to have great storytelling, great messaging throughout. And then for your podcast, see if you can do it all by yourself before adding other cast members. Show who you are. Let people know who you are. Behind the lens, on the camera, show different elements of who you are. And experiment. Then you need to decide on if you're going to be focusing on educational content or entertainment. I think it's more rigorous to do education because you really have to study, but it's so fulfilling and it's very rememberable because people are always going to keep coming back to it because everybody has a question about something, whether it's how to cook, how to budget better, going to school versus doing an apprenticeship or applying for a job or learning how to get into some type of avenue. People always have questions. Entertainment, it can be challenging because not everybody is interested in certain things. Also, certain niches do not get monetized on YouTube, such as gaming channels. So make sure that you do your research before signing up for something because you may not be getting paid or your watch hours may not be considered for monetization. Then you need to figure out, are you focusing on being viral or being sustainable? Take in all these different elements that I have introduced and you will get monetized soon. I hope that you all enjoyed this video. Definitely subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Follow me on YouTube and Substack BPerryFilms Experience, TikTok and Instagram BPerryFilms, and LinkedIn Bobby L. Perry, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.